Welcome to Geeks and Gamers Daily. I am your host, Jeremy, joined by the most positive man on the history of the internet, in the history of the internet, on the internet. I don't know. Ryan Kennel from RK Outpost, diversity extraordinaire. Ryan Kennel, hi, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. That's quite the introduction. We do not have writers on this show, if you guys couldn't tell. They're still on strike, so we're working on bringing them back. We need some scabs in here so we can get the intros down. But yeah, I'm doing good. I saw you were having some internet problems last night. It looked like on the gaming stream.
It's so fucking annoying, dude. It's so annoying.
I was having internet problems as well. We both have Spectrum, which Spectrum is typically on the Spectrum, and mine didn't go out or anything, but it just seemed like it was freezing or lagging up a little bit on my face. The audio was fine, but every once in a while, you know, StreamYards does the bad signal thing. That's what was happening to me all yesterday during my entire stream, even though I'm plugged into Ethernet.
Do you not have a different provider in your area?
No, it's the same.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I'm not that far away.
Well, I know you're not that far away, but I figured in that populated of an area. But it's really like I hate Spectrum so bad. But
the thing is, like, neighborhoods and everything like that they get deals with these places sometimes where you can only have that one at that place, you know. So that's just how it is in a lot of places, not just here in Florida.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, it is frustrating. I mean, I was back in Pensacola for like 2 weeks. I did like gaming streams like probably every night. Not one single hiccup. It was so nice. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what it's like to have good internet. Imagine getting a fucking HQ for online internet purposes and having bad fucking internet. Good job, Jeremy. Struck gold with that one. But for the most part, it's been pretty good. But I see we have Jason's statement here. Hi, Jason's statement. I heard Jay called Jason Statham Jason's statement. Is that right?
In his Meg 2 review, apparently.
He was talking about this in the car with us. We're driving around. He was explaining it to me. And then, can't remember specifically. If Beardo was here, he could remind me. It was somebody that there's a content creator that was talking about another content creator. And Jay was like, oh, yeah, Eric Klein was talking about it. And I'm like,
Ethan?
Who the fuck is Eric Klein? He goes, you know, Eric Klein. I'm like, Ethan Klein? Yeah, man. I was like, Jesus Christ, Jay. Like, good Lord.
He's really bad with names really and words. It's really bad. It's the English language.
No, so apparently, I haven't seen the whole clip. Let me see. I was told that the Simpcast girls got a super chat from Chris Benoit.
I have not watched that either. I saw a screenshot on Twitter that was like, looks like Chris Benoit is asking for dating advice on Simpcast. And all I saw was a screenshot with the Chris Benoit super chat. And I was like, I imagine that they are not going to realize who Chris Benoit is.
Well, it's somebody. So here's a 51-second clip that somebody sent me on Discord because I was told about it last night. Want to check it out, Ryan? Chris Benoit dating advice. Shout out to Chrissy Mayer and the Simpcast girls. Here we go.
Oh, okay. So Chris is a dad, but he doesn't have to like take care of his son anymore. So that's
So the super chat says for Chris Benoit, hi ladies, I'm newly single and the son is out of the picture, so no single parent baggage. Any advice for getting back into the dating scene? Holy shit.
Chrissy said his son's out of the picture, so that's good.
That's good. Yeah.
That's cool.
I like how, so first of all, like the fact that they're like taking that seriously and answering the chat, it's basically a guy that's saying, I'm single. He adds in, hey, the kid is not here anymore, so I don't have to worry about that. Any advice for getting back? You're just a single person. Like there's no real special advice you would need. But
and look, just to be fair, this happens to everybody. Everybody gets trolled like this. It's just that this one's so funny because Chris Benoit is so infamous for what happened. He's sent it to us. He tries to, during Tuesday Night's Main Event, we have a guest. You know, he'll send like a question in for the guest. He's like, hi, so-and-so, I really enjoyed this thing, whatever. So
my advice is don't.
It's all
mess right now.
funny. That's not motivating.
Sorry.
Depends
Look at
on
this
his
chat.
goal. Are you trying to like date
Abort,
to
abort,
marry
abort.
again, or just having fun? Like,
Yeah.
that's important too.
I would say, yeah.
It's really
And it
hard.
also, you know, kind of like how old you are, right? It depends. Like, are you open to having kids with somebody else again? Because that would kind of determine, like, you either have to find a woman who definitely doesn't want kids, or you have to go for a woman who's like, I don't know, 40 and up, right? If that's something you don't want to deal with again.
How long does this go?
Back into dating scene, I would say don't rely on just apps. Always do in-person stuff. Talk bullshit. Genuine, have a viral moment. I mean,
Jesus
like,
Christ.
don't let that dissuade approaching a genuine. And you can tell probably by how they're
Chrissy's-
dressed.
Chrissy's being
If they're-
so like super genuine about it. Be like, I'm really trying to help this fucking guy out.
You know what I mean? But if someone's like, you know, posing and
With the hood
We're
over
fast forwarding right now to try to see how long this goes.
her head for gym therapy.
do a yoga class, and that's where a lot of women will be there, like a yoga
Jesus
Target or one of those arts craft stores.
Christ.
Michaels. Yeah, 5-year-old woman go when there's a sale.
They're like,
Oh, I was gonna say,
Is this
isn't that a
troll?
wrestler who like killed?
in the chat, and they're like saying that this is a troll.
What?
Really?
How
Oh,
rude. I was gonna say,
Is this
isn't that
troll?
a wrestler who like killed his family and like his son? Like roid raging. That's what I thought, but I didn't want to be like, oh my goodness. Isn't that who it is?
Hold on. I'm about to lose my shit on you guys. If this is a troll, we're here giving real advice, and you guys are fucking with us.
Hey, to be clear, like last night, I got a super chat from somebody on the gaming stream, and they're like, "Hey, Jeremy, love Geeks and Gamers. Recently had a close friend that passed away. Just want to say you guys have helped me really get through this time, and I really appreciate it. Hashtag open the door." And I answered him legitimately, and he comes back. He goes, "Bro, I'm trolling. Look at the hashtag." Because but anyway, shout out to Chrissy and the girls on Simpcast. It's funny as hell, but
That's great.
it happens. It happens to all of us. The fans are awesome. They do this. You can't keep up with everything. I wouldn't imagine a panel of women to know the name Chris Benoit off the top of their head. So shout out to them. So damn funny, man. Holy crap. We got 10 gifted memberships from Eric Guidewall. Thank you for 10 gifted. We also got another one that's not showing up for some reason, and I don't know where it went. Oh, there it is. The Wolfman Heart. Thank you, the Wolfman Heart. Jason's statement: when is Canadian Bear versus Cocaine Bear? Hey, if we can make it happen, let's make it happen.
Yeah, better cash in.
Mikey likes it for the 199. Thank you so much. Jason's statement says, "Can we get the Chris Benoit troll video?" There you go. Slayer, Disney's failure puts a smile on my face. Hell 199. Blake Barrett says, "More like rectum internet." Roger Rubio, holy shit, that Benoit chat has me laughing out loud. Ha, legit, ha ha ha. All poor Chrissy. Yeah, we love Chrissy. She's best. So Jins with the 199 member message. The Beast, welcome to the 199. Ryan, what is our first topic of the day?
Well, we plan to talk about Elon Musk and cancel culture, a couple of things like this, but I actually think that there's something a lot of people in the chat have mentioned that we should get into. I don't know if you heard about this Neo situation, Jeremy.
I heard it because I saw Andrew Tate tweet out about it. That's why I heard about it. So
okay, so there's been a lot of people that have been talking about this, and Neo, the singer, who obviously had some big hits like 10 years ago.
yeah, I liked a lot of his songs back in the day.
I liked a lot of Neo shit.
He had some really good songs back in the day.
Very talented dude. He gave about the least controversial statement you could possibly give that, man, things are really different nowadays. It used to be that men were men and women were women and boys were boys and girls were girls. Now everything's weird. Everything's messed up. And it's really irresponsible for parents to be letting 5-year-olds kind of dictate what gender they want to be. That's about the least controversial thing you could possibly imagine. At least I think. That is turned very quickly in one day into this from Neo. I'd like to express my deepest apologies. After much reflection, I'd like to express my deepest apologies to anyone that I may have hurt with my comments on parenting and gender identity. I've always been an advocate for love and inclusivity in the LGBTQIA LMNOP plus community. So I understand how my comments could have been interpreted as insensitive and offensive. Gender identity is nuanced, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to educate myself and approach future conversations with more empathy. This is what he said. It's a 5-minute clip. We don't need to watch a whole 5 minutes. You can get the kind of general idea from the beginning. But listen to this.
So ridiculous.
I have no issue with the LBG. I have no problem with nobody. Okay,
Right.
love who you love, do what you do.
Exactly.
I just personally come from an era where a man was a man and a woman was a woman, and it wasn't but two genders, and that's just how I rock.
Me
Now,
too.
you could identify as a goldfish if you feel.
Right.
I don't care. That ain't my business. It becomes my business when you try to make me play the game with you. I'm not gonna call you a
Right.
goldfish, but you want to
Exactly.
be a goldfish, you go be a goldfish. It's all good.
Amen.
I mean,
Well
yeah,
said.
it's just we live in a weird time, man. We do. We
do.
live in a time where a person will have a mental breakdown in front of their camera.
Right.
Wait, let me wipe balance. No, it's right.
That's crazy, right?
What the hell is that? Like, if you are of sound mind enough,
And there's a point where he gets to parenting and like a 5-year-old kid, doing stuff like that. I'm gonna see if I can find
those
it.
emotions, the moment that they deserve,
Same.
the f***ing one. That's the way I was raised.
Me too.
Yeah, like, all right, that hurt. Go ahead, cry. It's just when I
It
just
is
don't know
weird
when the world
times.
became so sensitive. Like comedians can't tell jokes no more.
No.
Like, everybody's offended.
I can't.
Bro, isn't this fucking conversation funny because he's apologizing for it?
I can't believe this, man. This is pathetic. This is pathetic. I'm not here. I'm not here to bring up the figure that I am about to bring up because I understand online right now. But god damn, if you can't just hear what he's saying right here. Neo, this is what I saw. Neo was speaking the truth on the podcast. It went viral. Neo got the call. Then he proceeds to recant the truth and apologize for speaking for it. All of you don't realize the call is very real. Look what happens to people like me when we don't bend. I can't believe Neo apologized for this. He's making him. This is so fucking obvious what happened. This is so obvious. Well, who's the Major League Baseball player, Ryan? Because I know you're doing great on Sports Wars right now. Who's the player who said what he said about religion or something, and then he apologized the next day and said that he's been educated properly? Who was that? The baseball player.
The guy said something about religion.
It was religion that he said something. He liked to post on Instagram, or he made some type of Instagram post. I can't remember, but then
So there's a NASCAR driver who liked a meme.
No, but this was like like a month ago. I think it was like Toronto Blue Jays player. Then he got released.
Oh yes, Anthony Bass, the Toronto Blue Jays player,
yes.
essentially liked an Instagram post about why the boycotts against Target are like a positive thing from a Christian perspective.
Yeah, and
that's what it was about.
And the next day,
immediately went out there, looked like he was again. People, your publicists, your managers, whatever, they say, hey, man, you're getting a lot of backlash over this. You need to do some damage control. And you go out there and you damage control so you don't get your, next appearance canceled. Now, what happened to that guy? He ended up getting fucking released from the team anyway, even with the apology.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now Neo, this will probably blow over a little bit, but he would have had an army at his back that supported him because, spoiler alert, 99% of people agree with what Neo's saying in this clip. Yep. And you can watch the whole thing. It's on the DJ Vlad channel if you want to watch the full context for him to get into parenting and all that. But the forced apologies, we're going to be talking about this a little bit with Elon Musk cancel culture later. It's just outlandish. When you look at Jamie Foxx, right? Jamie Foxx, a dude who for a while, for a couple days, you couldn't say anything wrong about Jamie Foxx. How dare you say anything or question anything? We're just happy to have you back, Jamie. We're so glad that you're back on social media, right? Well, then all of a sudden, Jamie Foxx apologizes for Instagram posts saying they killed this dude named Jesus following accusations of anti-Semitism. All it took was one post that some people misinterpreted, and Jamie Foxx, they're trying to cancel him. And they're trying to cancel Jennifer Aniston because it looked like she might have liked his post, blah, blah, blah. It's just wild that this is the world that we live in, and some people continue to bend the knee and apologize.
And Jamie Foxx is objectively one of the most talented people on the planet in terms of entertainment, dude. This dude is I mean, he's got it all. He's an actor, he's a comedian, he's a musician. The dude is a fucking rock star, and he even bends the knee. Like, it's so crazy how quickly people will bend the knee to this stuff. But the Neo stuff, I mean, you hear the specifics of what he was saying, and look how quickly he retracted that. I mean, quickly. You know he don't believe what he just said. You know he doesn't believe it. Oh, I've been educated. I am so sorry. Holy crap, man.
We actually said I need to be educated. I need to educate myself. And he's getting blasted. Like, that post has 1,000 likes and like 8,000 comments, over 1,000 quote tweets or quote posts, whatever the fuck it is now. But he is getting destroyed for it. And rightly so, because he didn't say anything wrong. He didn't say anything controversial. He didn't say anything that the vast majority of people don't agree with. Yet he felt the need to come out and apologize because he's in the woke entertainment industry.
And it's a very good topic to bring up because it's going to segue into the next thing we're about to talk about here in just a minute. And I can't wait to get into that because, again, I've talked about this a lot, especially over on the Cobra Cast, about if you go back to look like how things were in 2020 and how bleak things were looking from a social media standpoint, everything that happened with Parler, people getting banned on social media, especially Twitter. Things were looking really, really bad. And they still are like frustrating at times like this. We see what happens with somebody like Neo and anyone else. But what the announcement that Elon Musk made was going to be huge. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But this Neo story. So I heard people talking about Neo last night in my chat. I'm like, what happened with Neo? What happened with Neo? You know, I didn't know until today when I woke up and saw. But what a disaster. What a complete and total disaster. Stephen Wasick for 20 says comments were trashing John Matrix on the NASCAR video. We're saying how dare he defend this how dare he defend this as a black man. One woman even called him an Oreo, a slur based off cookies, and she was black. What the hell's wrong with people? Well, yeah, the NASCAR thing. So I mean,
so just to be clear, on Sports Wars, we call it a lot of things. I've never seen more racist shit. Like the most racist shit I see in my space on YouTube is anything that gets directed at John Matrix when he's on Sports Wars with us.
Yes, that is true.
All the fucking time, because he's a black man that doesn't necessarily agree with the woke left. That's it. That's all it takes. Mm-hmm. And he gets called every name in the world, either by other black people or by people who are leftist, who think that he should immediately agree with them.
Yes.
And the whole NASCAR story is that a NASCAR driver liked a meme. Now, this is a meme that may have been born on FNT, to be honest with you.
Yes.
It's a George Floyd meme. It's a George Floyd meme. It's not tasteful at all, but it's, him as Sebastian the Crab, and it says under the knee. And that's the meme.
Yeah.
But it's not like he posted it from his account. He fucking liked a meme on Instagram. And that has resulted in his indefinite suspension from NASCAR, from his team first, and then from NASCAR for violating their social media policy. It's absolute insanity. And you know that if it was a post, say it was a post joking about killing Trump, he wouldn't be suspended.
Nope.
Like, there'd be nothing for it. If it was a post making fun of Paul Walker dying, right? That's about the equivalent that we're talking here, right? Like the tragic death of Paul Walker, and it was a meme about, hey, never let your friends drive. Some stupid thing like that.
And to be clear, I'm a massive Paul Walker fan, and we've laughed about those memes a lot on FNT. The whole as Paul Walker thing is so damn funny, and I love Paul Walker. All right, we've laughed at him. It's like we've laughed at all the other memes because the memes are fucking funny. And it's just, so this NASCAR thing. So I used to be obsessed with NASCAR. I used to watch NASCAR religiously back in the day when Earnhardt was the top guy. And even after Earnhardt died at 2001 Daytona 500, then I continued to watch NASCAR, became, a Tony Stewart fan, a Kyle Busch fan, Dale Jr. NASCAR was always that good old boy kind of Southern, American sport. And man, it has, since Bubba Wallace is coming to the picture, and fuck that motherfucker, by the way, but since Bubba Wallace is coming to the picture, and then the social justice propaganda and all of that, NASCAR has fallen so damn far that it is unrecognizable to the person that used to watch it back in the day. It does not resemble anything remotely close to what made NASCAR one of the biggest sporting events in the country consistently every weekend. Now here we are where somebody's getting suspended indefinitely. We also saw a NASCAR driver a few years ago. A NASCAR driver was he lost his sponsorship. I can't remember if he was suspended, but I know he
Brandon.
lost. No.
Oh,
There was
sorry.
a NASCAR driver who was I know he lost sponsorship. I believe he was suspended because 25 years prior there was a video of his father dropping the N-word.
Yeah.
I'm not making this up.
The sins of the father.
I'm not making this up. This is insanity. And we've continued to see the world we're in just devolve into nonsense. And then we get to this story with Elon Musk yesterday, which is a game changer.
And just to kind of carry on for what you just said, I think when you look at a thing like NASCAR, knowing your audience is a very important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we've heard a lot over the last couple of years the phrase "get woke, go broke," pushed out there, and a lot of people are using the success of Barbie to kind of be like, "Oh, I thought it was get woke, go broke." I think there's a big disconnect in people understanding what that means. If something in its origins is feminist in nature or has feminist messaging, and then you make a movie that has feminist messaging, that's pushing it to the audience that it's intended for. You're not getting woke, so to say. It's just kind of, that's always been the nature of that thing. When you take something that has, say, a predominantly male fan base or a little bit more conservative fan base, and you decide to push identity politics or all of this stuff into it, that is that franchise getting woke, right? And when you do that, it's not going to be a good thing. It's not going to have a good ending. Whether you're talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, whether you're talking about Star Wars, whether you're talking about NASCAR, Bud Light, these things that have a certain specific audience, and you are now inherently pushing things that audience rejects, that's getting woke, as opposed to just kind of staying true to the messaging that's always been a part of that thing.
Yep, 100% agree. Again, I don't, when I cover things that I can have a passion for one way or the other or something like that. Like Barbie, I've become interested in Barbie just based off the conversation alone. But the movie itself, like, I didn't really care because it's like, it's not made for me. It's not made for me. It's made for the audience. It's made for. It's been successful. Ryan has covered this in depth, and he's been right 100%. Everything he said up to this point, even prior to seeing the movie, and now it's over $1 billion. It's going to become the biggest film of the year. And I don't think that there's been any heavy criticism from us at all, maybe prior to the movie coming out because of some of the things that were said about it. But like, I even remember like there were interviews with the cast prior to the movie coming out. And I never talked about those either because it's like, whatever, man, it's a fucking Barbie movie.
And every time it came up, like I've certainly been wrong about shit in the past, no doubt about that. But when it came to this, I was saying the same thing in the lead up to the Barbie movie. When the cast was coming out and being like, "Oh, it's a very feminist movie," I was like, I don't think this is going to have the impact you guys think it will by talking about the cast coming out and talking about the female empowerment that's in this movie and blah, blah, blah. So this is a different audience. This is made for different people. I don't think you're going to see the same backlash for some of these things that you're used to seeing in a property like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or whatever. And so far, that has absolutely been the case.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what people initially said about it, and then maybe they changed their minds after they saw the way the wind was blowing, or people that still hold those opinions. So
yeah. I mean, at some point I'll probably check. Like I said, I saw the first 40 minutes of the movie. I mean, I could see if you're now, again, I saw the first 40 minutes. I didn't see the last half where a lot of people had problems with it. But if you're into this, I can see why this movie would have blown your mind. The production, the set design, incredible. You know what I mean? And
I imagine, I don't know, but I imagine if you played with Barbies when you were a kid, you probably picked up on so much really cool shit that you remember or that they did, whether it's even the way that like Barbie comes out of the house, right? Because it's the dream house, it's all open, and you like just take her out of the front and like put her down. She came out of the house, even stuff like that. It's, again, I think trying to remind millennials of what it was like when they were playing with Barbie when they were like 7 years old or something.
Yep. So congrats to the movie. I've nothing really. I'm just happy Oppenheimer's doing good. That's all.
Fucking $1 billion in 17 days for Barbie.
What did Mario? How long did it take Mario to hit $1 billion? It was like 20.
Let's see.
I want to say it was like 20 something days.
Probably. How long did it take Mario?
It was like 20. I want to say like 22, 23 days, maybe. So maybe I'm wrong.
26 days. 26 days.
Okay. Yeah. So Barbie's definitely going to overtake it, and of course they're going to keep it running in theaters a lot longer than Nintendo. Nintendo should have left Mario in theaters, but again, it's Nintendo. It's what they do.
To be fair, they did leave it in theater. They just also did the digital release concurrently with it. Which that's Universal's. That's kind of been their approach with some of specifically their kids movies, because I think they realized what I think is they know that families, like parents, aren't likely to want to go through the effort of dragging kids out to the theater to see it again because it's kind of a hassle for parents sometimes. But knowing that there was a lot of demand for it, so there's a lot of fucking people that went and saw Mario, and then as soon as it got released video on demand, watch it even though it was still in theaters. They bought it so they could watch it at home.
Yep.
So they kind of got the best of both worlds that way.
Yeah. Now, do you think that Oppenheimer has any shot at $1 billion? I think the top end for the forecast has it around 900, but the bottom end's got it around 750.
750 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll get there. It doesn't not have a chance, but I would be shocked. I would be fucking blown away if it did.
I think 800 is probably the which is insane.
It is nuts.
It's insane. It's crazy.
And there's been a lot of conversation about Oppenheimer's budget as well, specifically because of something that Chris Nolan said during an interview. He was talking about the pitch for Oppenheimer, and he said, I've got a script. It's 180 pages, which means it's going to be 180 minutes and $180 million. And so people have kind of taken that to be like, oh, this movie costs 180 million. No, the reported budget officially from Universal even came out and clarified is 100 million. But those statements from him about what his thought process was going into it and the pitch to Universal is being taken not necessarily out of context, but not being necessarily portrayed for what it actually meant.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, it's good stuff. It's good to see, it's nice when you have movies from both sides or, both perspectives that can make each respective audience happy.
I like it because it shows that all of fucking Disney's excuses are bullshit. That's what I really like about it. And even the media, let's just skip and go to that because you just brought that up. We might as well talk about that now. If I can find where I have it. I've got too many damn things. Here we go.
You have too many tabs?
Yeah, it's a problem. I just can't quit. It is a problem because what we have seen from Disney over the last year and a half of box office disappointments and failures and flops, it's been the same thing. Oh, well, it's still recovering from the pandemic. Oh, people just don't want to go to the theaters to support our movies. Really, it's interesting because Disney, it doesn't matter whether it's something like Haunted Mansion, which after 10 days, the media is already admitting it's a failure and it's a flop for Disney. Doesn't matter if it's a franchise like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Indiana Jones. Doesn't matter if it's a live action remake of Little Mermaid. Doesn't matter if it's an animated movie. Disney's failing over and over and over again, including on Disney Plus and their streaming service. And what it's led to is virtually everybody calling this shit out now. You've got on Forbes, the 4 flops of 2023 that cost Disney $1 billion. You've got over on Variety, Disney's harsh new reality, costly film flops, creative struggles, and a shrinking global box office. And even when it comes to criticizing the MCU, the mainstream media, again, Variety, Secret Invasion was a mess, but Marvel had already lost its way. I don't know about you, Jeremy, but to me, these headlines from the mainstream sound like toxic YouTubers. It sounds like what toxic YouTubers have been saying for like 2 years now. I don't know what to make of this.
Yeah, no, it's almost like the YouTubers once again ahead of the game and ahead of the curve. And again, it's real easy to talk about it now when it's obvious as day. And I'm sure that this is going to change a lot of the discussion. Like, well, of course, Marvel's failing. They had a good run. They've been around for so long, so it's okay. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's one thing to say it when it's convenient. It's another thing to say it when it's just obviously true. You're going to get kickback on it. And that's what we've been saying for a while now. It's not because we didn't want to not like Marvel. I mean, we clearly, all of us at some point in time have enjoyed what the Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing and been doing for years. But it's just once Endgame happened and they moved it in a different direction, it was just obvious that not only is this not the Marvel that you knew and loved, this is social justice propaganda, and they are going to alienate so much. I know, like there might be a few in the audience, old school wrestling fans from back in the day. We saw what happened with the NWO. The NWO was the biggest thing we'd ever seen in wrestling, and at its peak, it was incredible. It was must-see TV constantly. And then it got to the point where literally every single person became a member of the NWO, and it lost all of its meaning. It lost all of the interest, the excitement. And that's what Marvel has become. When Marvel films would come out, they were an event. Now they're just shitting stuff out just to shit stuff out. And it's lost all of its, it's lost all of its platform, all of the special feel that it had. You're just pushing shit out there to push shit out there. That's what happened with the NWO. That's what's happened with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's just ridiculous now.
And to go back to the point you made earlier about, us wishing it was bad or something, I would love to go back to the feeling of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the Infinity War Endgame era. Regardless of how Endgame ended up and some of the problems that were in that movie, I don't know if I've ever had an experience that was quite like what we saw with Endgame, especially when it led up to the battle at the end, when you got Captain America picking up the hammer, when you got everybody coming out on your left, all the people returning in that moment. And finally, after a decade of waiting, you get to hear Captain America say, "Avengers Assemble." There was nothing like that moment in theaters and all the hype and all the lead up to it, regardless of how a lot of the rest of the movie turned out. I would love to go back to that era where we were excited about this stuff, where we were so invested in it and happy to go see another movie and wondering where it would lead. Now it's the opposite. Now what's going to come out is likely going to be shit. And they have this house of cards that they have stacked, and the base of it they decided to fill with identity politics. Kevin Feige, he's a fucking bitch, but he's not a liar, because Kevin Feige said in 2018, I see an MCU where we have more female heroes and villains than male. That's exactly what he's done. He's held up on his promise. That's what he said he wanted to do, and that slowly and systematically is what he's done, but it's driven the audience away.
Yeah, it has, and it's not going to get any better. It's only going to continue to get worse. You got the Marvels coming out very soon, and that's just going to confirm everything once again. Once that movie underperforms, I don't know if it'll be a legitimate flop, but it's definitely going to underperform. I don't know what the budget is. What is it? $200 million for that movie?
It's probably more. It's probably somewhere in the range of 250 million, like all these other things. We haven't heard any official word yet, but for so much of this shit, they have been underreporting it. One of those articles is a very long article they got into about the 4 flops of 2023 by Disney. It's talking about the stuff that's filmed in the UK that they are forced to report on. But the problem is they only have to report over like that certain year. So we see things like Multiverse of Madness, which got reported last year. I think going into the summer of last year is a $200 million budget. As it turns out, they actually spent $350 million on it. Now they got a tax break that brought it down to just under $300 million. But that's a big difference. That turns Multiverse of Madness from, okay, maybe it didn't hit $1 billion like some people were hoping after that massive opening weekend, but at least it was a success for Marvel. That turns that into something that it's questionable if it broke even or not. Like that's the big difference that it is. And that seems to be the case with all of these Marvel shows and movies. They're underreporting the initial budgets. They're not counting a lot of the reshoot and a lot of the production stuff they have to put into it afterwards. And they're virtually all losing money, or maybe in the case of Guardians of the Galaxy, just barely breaking even.
What a disaster. What a disaster. But you love to see it. So continue on, Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilm, all of this trash. What happened with Ahsoka? There was something like, was there a new trailer that came out or something? People have been talking about something with Ahsoka. Is there like something else that happened or some story that broke? I don't know. I saw people talking about it. I didn't care, so I didn't really.
There's a couple things. It's a report that's not exactly a new report, but it's updated report. We've heard for a while that Anakin was going to be in the Ahsoka series in some way, shape, or form. Making Star Wars, regardless of what you think about Jason Ward, the dude has actual legitimate sources that have been right, like time after time, especially when it comes to the Favreau, Filoni stuff that they've been doing. And he said for a while that there was going to be a section where Ahsoka was kind of just walking through the world between worlds. They're not changing timelines. They're not doing anything like that. But that she's kind of looking and seeing pieces of what could have been in her life. And one of those things is going to be her going to Mustafar with Obi-Wan to confront Anakin.
Oh, no.
And I did a whole segment about that yesterday. So that might be what you're talking about.
Yeah, maybe. I saw some stories going around about it.
There's also Rosario Dawson put out, she's like, me and Dave Filoni, we had so many conversations about the differences between Gandalf the Grey and Gandalf the White and how we're going to implement that in the Ahsoka series. And I've hated Ahsoka since the beginning. I've made that crystal clear. For 15 years, I've not liked this character, although I can understand why some people do and why some people feel it helps flesh out some of the character development of Anakin and why he might distrust the Jedi, stuff like that. So I get that, even though I don't like the character. But now even people that are longtime fans of the character, like yourself, are starting to realize that enough is enough. This character has overstayed their welcome. They're being shoved into each and every aspect of Star Wars. And it is like this, it's like this fantasy for Dave Filoni to make his favorite character the most important person in the galaxy. And it's just turning a lot of people off.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't care. I truly don't care what they're doing moving forward now. And that's, I guess I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like into this Ahsoka series simply for just the fandom of it. It's going to be probably the one that, like, it's probably going to be a fairly entertaining show. I will not watch it. I will not review it. I am done. I don't care about Disney Star Wars. I just don't care. And I'm at a point where I just, like, when I play Battlefront, we play Battlefront here on Wednesdays. It's so much fun because it just keeps me, it reminds me of what Star Wars was. And I know Battlefront 2, it was still made under the Disney banner and all of that, but it still captures the essence of Star Wars. The only negative to it is it has sequel trilogy elements to it, but at least you can play in the Empire or the Rebellion era, or the Empire or the prequel era. And so, yeah, I'm so far removed from it that I don't care. I did enjoy Rebels. I enjoyed how it ended. I thought it had a lot of problems overall, but generally speaking, I enjoyed Rebels. And this is essentially the continuation of Rebels, and I don't care. You've made me not care. That's how, and I think that there's a lot of people that are going to feel this way when it's all said and done. You're going to get these new age fans that don't really know anything about Star Wars or care anything about Star Wars, and they're probably going to love this. But for people that have followed this, man, you can say whatever you want. Ryan's 100% right about the overuse of Ahsoka now, and to the point where she's kind of like the only thing that connective tissue from the old guard and the new guard, and they are abusing the hell out of this now. It's so bad.
It's just, when you look at the character of Ahsoka and you're like, okay, you can kind of understand like why she was introduced and what they were doing with her. But Dave Filoni himself has even admitted that he wanted the character, or that George Lucas wanted the character to die. George was in the Ahsoka dies camp. I was always in the Ahsoka lives camp. That's what Dave Filoni has said repeatedly. And once George was out of the picture, Dave Filoni did what he wanted to do, kept her alive. That's one thing. That creates some continuity issues if you keep this character alive in this universe, whatever. Then what happens in Rebels? She's like part of the founding of the Rebel fucking alliance, right? That's Ahsoka's new thing. And then she faces Darth Vader and you think she dies. If you're going to keep her alive, whatever, that's a fine ending. You just leave it there. But no, you invent time travel in Star Wars to keep Ahsoka alive. And you have her make that appearance at the end of Rebels as if you're going to go searching for Ezra. Not only that, then you have her running the Mandalorian and explain what Grogu is and explain what to do with him, even though she takes no fucking responsibility for it. Then you have her basically acting as a mentor to Luke Skywalker in the Book of Boba Fett series. You're about to have her in this series doing all this shit with Grand Admiral Thrawn, essentially rewriting the original Thrawn trilogy and shoving Ahsoka's ass right in there. And remember, you got to also remember that her voice was at the end at Rise of Skywalker, speaking to Rey, and Dave Filoni came out with this Gandalf fucking picture and said, you know, she's not, doesn't necessarily mean she's dead, by the way. Like, they will never let this character go. She's been involved with way too fucking much. She was never intended to be the way. Oh, by the way, Clone Wars Season 7, she's shoved into every aspect of Revenge of the Sith. But, you know, we never saw that on screen because it didn't fucking happen. But I just fucking hate
Have
it.
you ever heard Ryan? This is Ryan. This is normal for Ryan. This is
like
normal for Ryan.
That
was just normal. But yeah. So if you look back at the Clone Wars season 5, Clone Wars season 5 was kind of a perfect way to kind of end that character in all reality, and then you could show whatever happens, you know, with Order 66. But Disney Star Wars sucks. It's just not good. It's never going to be good. There's no use in even trying to hope anymore. And again, it doesn't matter if Kathleen Kennedy gets fired. As I've said many, many times, her being fired means nothing. Yeah. It means nothing. She could be fired tomorrow and it means nothing. It fixes nothing. It doesn't make Star Wars on a better path. It doesn't improve it. It means nothing. She's become... Again, for the longest, I believe that Kathleen Kennedy was the problem. I don't necessarily think Kathleen Kennedy's the problem anymore. I just don't. I mean, it's not. Has Kathleen Kennedy got anything to do with the MCU? She got anything to do with Pixar? She got anything to do with the Disney parks? No. Like, this is not just an isolated problem. This is a company problem. This is a problem that has infected the entire company. This is just one element of it. And her being gone means nothing at all. It means nothing.
Yeah. And to be clear, I think that I'm going to despise everything in the Ahsoka series. But that a lot of people are going to be praising it and fucking coming in their pants for it. That's what I think. It's going to be Mando season 2 all over again, which has so many problems and is really not very good, but it's littered with cameos and, oh, remember this, remember that, remember that. Because that's Dave Filoni's speciality. All right.
I like Mando season 2 though.
It's rewatch it.
I mean, it feels like the Clone Wars. It's disjointed. It's just a lot of isolated stories and all of that. You know what I mean? Like, but in those individual episodes, I enjoyed them. I don't know if I've watched it twice or not. But I haven't seen 3. But that was more so to do with a lot of other elements.
Yeah, like one we're about to get into. But just for the record, I called Mando season 2 Force Awakens because if to me it felt the same way, that I didn't understand why people were hyping this up so much. Yes, there's a character returning. Oh my God, the Millennium Falcon. Oh my God, Han Solo, Chewbacca, blah, blah, blah. But it was really a house of cards that was shallow as fuck. That it did damage to canon, did damage to the universe, and ultimately Mando season 3 happened, just kind of like Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker happened.
I see a lot of people saying that Mando's not rewatchable. I tend to agree with that. I mean, as much as I enjoyed season 1 as well, I can't even imagine watching season 1 again, dude.
I would watch season 1 in a heartbeat before season 2.
I just don't see any point watching either one of them. They don't have rewatchability. Like
season 2 specifically, because it's not actually a fucking story. It's Mandalorian just meeting important people.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. Like, that entire series is based off of cameos. Oh my God, Bo-Katan. Oh my God, Boba Fett. Oh my God, Ahsoka. Oh my God, Luke Skywalker. Like, that's what that series
is. 3 worse than 2?
Yes. Because the writing is essentially the same and just as fucking retarded, but there's no cameos. The cameos are Lizzo. You know, Lizzo and Jack Black are the cameos in that.
God. Yep. I haven't seen 3. Not one single second did I watch of season 3. What's the last Star Wars thing I watched was Obi-Wan, and that was Obi-Wan might be the worst thing I've seen from Disney Star Wars. It might be the worst thing I've seen.
I don't think it's the worst show, but it's the worst from a that feels bad, man, like standpoint. You know,
Good
taking
Lord,
something
man.
that had not been ruined and ruining it. You know,
Yeah.
taking something that you could look back and these characters and that you thought about, and you're like, you know what? They may have ruined a lot of Star Wars, but they haven't touched this. Well, they touched it.
They touched it and they abused it just like they've done everything else. But like watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, watching that entire season, I was more disgusted by that than even, and I still think like if you just want to be as honest as possible about what I've seen, I guess Rise of Skywalker is probably the worst film, the worst thing, like objectively, but Rise of Skywalker is bad, like a really bad movie.
Rise of Skywalker is bad, but it is also maybe one of the most understandable bad movies.
Yeah,
because you're like, what do you do? You know, what do you do when you kind of set some stuff up in Force Awakens? Literally all of it got thrown in the trash in The Last Jedi, and they ended that as if it was just the end of the franchise. So
Yeah.
you almost have to reset everything and have a trilogy worth of things happen in one movie. Yeah, I don't know.
It's bad. It's bad. But we gotta catch up on some super chats, and we gotta get to our next story. So
Yeah.
hiccup. Do you remember
Japanese
Rocky
Demon
Top?
Lord Abir Lucifer for 10. I'm done with Western entertainment. All the original stuff is coming from Asia, Japan, or Korea. Discovered a show last weekend called Gate. Apocalypse Now merged with Lord of the Rings. That sounds cool. Japanese Demon Lord Abir Lucifer. Mike Hill for 10. Boba Fett and Mando took a backseat of their own shows, but I bet Dave wouldn't do that to his girlfriend Ahsoka. No, I think it's going to be. I don't think anybody has to worry about Ahsoka getting overshadowed in her show. We'll put it that way.
Real quick, shout out to Jake the Viking. He was at G&G HQ last night. So everybody's
Nice.
somebody said, Jeremy, I thought you were taller. Jake is a
Jake's pretty
giant.
tall. Yeah.
Jake is a big dude. All right. So yes, I think Jake's like, I don't know if he's like 6'4", 5. He's a big dude. But and that we got more peeps that'll be at HQ in the coming months. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, shout out to Jake. It was cool having him here.
Over on Rumble, Faux Peasy says, RK, we got a spam bot in chat. I checked and I don't know who this spam bot is.
Get him gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll try to take a look, but I don't see it.
Is Cam Man here? Where's Cam Man? Cam Man, you're supposed to be here. I know you were up on my gaming stream the whole night, but where you at, Cam Man? You're not allowed to sleep. What are you doing, Cam Man? Jeremy standing on a box. This guy coming back.
Roscoe for $1 on Rumble 2. At Ryan, tell us how you really feel. I just did. Stuart Hamilton, member for 2 months. 199. Thank you.
199.
Mikey likes it. Gifts a Geeks and Gamers membership. Thank you. Travis's World, member for 2 months. Thoughts on the new TMNT will make money? Well, I don't know. It made like $27 million opening weekend of the box office, which isn't necessarily spectacular, isn't terrible, but I don't really know what it did globally. One thing I do know is it only cost $70 million to make. So when you're making movies like that with that kind of budget, that's realistic. You know, that's a realistic budget where you can be successful. Whereas if you have Disney $200 million budget to make the same thing, that's what it probably would have been. You're setting yourself up for failure. So
Yeah,
I don't really know what Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles expected to do, but I know it had a relatively small budget at $70 million.
Just go play Turtles in Time instead. That's what I say. Play Turtles in Time.
I heard a lot of people talk about April. I didn't like April. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. I did for the first time in my life. I had never heard this reference, but fat black April O'Neil got referred to as they brown graded her.
Oh, no.
I've never heard that in my life. I can't take credit for that. It's something I saw on Twitter, but that was something I'd never heard, and it blew my mind. A brown graded character. So
That's pretty funny.
A groomer drunk 3PO. Oh, thank you for a 199. Barbie made $1 billion. Eat it, incels. Hey, I don't really know what that's going to do to me, but I've been talking about Barbie for a while and thought it was going to be really successful. DeBeast for 2. Ryan has a skin
one thing
tone
I've learned.
to
I've
use true
learned
Pharaoh self. What?
I've learned that the people that hate us need us to be outraged about stuff. They need it. Like, and if we don't, then they get mad that we're not mad because their entire existence is based off of us. And I think that is pretty damn funny and says so much about these fucking freaks. And that's just the reality of it. There's a reason that those people are perpetual losers that just sit online waiting for whatever their I guess their least favorite YouTubers have to say, even though you have us all on notifications and you just wait to see what we're going to say about something. And when we don't have the opinion you need us to have, it makes you even angrier. It's a really weird dynamic. And I am 100% okay with that.
Yeah, I've seen some comments like that on some of my videos reported on Barbie's box office. So like, oh, I see how you're trying to pretend like you didn't think it was going to fail. It's like, you can go through my entire channel because I got every stream I was on. You're never going to see me say that. I never did say that. In fact, I was always saying the opposite. So I'm sorry that you're mad that I was right, even though I know it's a movie that's not made for me. But hey, DeBeast for 2. Ryan has the skin tone to be his true Pharaoh self. I mean, I look more like a ancient Egyptian than the Cleopatra series, that's for sure.
I see Gary's in the chat. What's up, Gary? Nerdrotic.
What's up, Gary? What's he saying?
I don't know. He just said hail in the chat.
Oh.
So I'm probably saying hey to the chat.
Sandstorm, member for 2 months. Thanks, guys, for G&G Daily. I'll be pulling another week of graveyard shifts. Can't be there for the night streams. Always look forward to this. 199. Thank you, Sandstorm. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Tomock for 50. Says a game I have been looking forward to is out today. WrestleQuest is a wrestling RPG in the style of Super Mario RPG. That sounds pretty cool, man. Back in the day, wrestling games were so cool because, again, I'm an old school wrestling fan. WWF, WCW, Monday Night Wars, all of that. And then you had all of these incredible wrestling games during that era. And even going back before then, pro wrestling on the NES, you had WrestleMania on the NES. You had Monday Night Raw on the Super Nintendo. Wrestling games were incredible back in the day. They really were.
Proto Station, welcome to the 199. Slayer 96 to second for a Canadian buck. Thank you. Panther Blue for 5. All these celebrity apologies are similar. No doubt there's a fill in the blank script out there they're using. 100%. John Morant's apology for like the second time he got caught with a gun on Instagram Live. It was the same exact thing as if when someone went to AI and was like, please type a John Morant apology. And it was like spat out the same exact verbiage. It's all fucking stupid.
Pathetic.
Zenny Biscuit for 2. Bubba Wallace will never be Wendell Scott.
No, he won't. Bubba Wallace.
Is that like a black driver or something?
Yeah, from back in like the 60s, 70s, maybe. When did Wendell Scott race? It was before my time. But yeah, Wendell Scott was old school. Yeah, Bubba Wallace, if you've ever listened to his interviews, the dude is so disingenuous. He's so pathetic. And he truly is. He truly is a cancer to NASCAR in every way, shape, or form. People hate his guts. I'm so tired of some of my favorite NASCAR drivers trying to take up for him. Dale Jr. I love Dale Jr. I think Dale Jr. is one of the most genuine people you'll see. But Dale Jr. is terrified of being canceled. He's terrified. He will try anything he can to justify Bubba Wallace. Fuck Bubba Wallace. Straight to hell where he belongs. He is a piece of garbage. He really is. And it's just time to just call the shit out, man. Stop pandering to nonsense. Bubba Wallace is a bad person. He's not a good person at all. But they're never going to call him out. They're scared to death.
Speaking about pandering to nonsense, I guess we got to talk about Lucasfilm a little bit. Finally, get into the thing that we were originally going to cover, the first story, but now here we are. Over the weekend, you saw a lot of different things between Jamie Foxx and the cancel culture mob, between a NASCAR driver getting suspended for liking a meme on Instagram. Elon Musk came out there and made a big statement, and it has a lot of people talking specifically about Gina Carano and what might potentially happen between her and Disney. Will Elon Musk fight Disney on Gina Carano's behalf? This is from our man Christian Toto and Hollywood and Toto. And the reason people are asking this question is because what Elon put out there on X, formerly known as Twitter. If you were unfairly treated by your employer due to posting or liking something on this platform, we will fund your legal bill. No limit. Please let us know. And obviously, a lot of people immediately tagged Gina Carano, and she responds, got a lot of attention. I think I qualify. Yeah, I think you do. That was one of the biggest examples that people could think of, because for months, Gina Carano was being targeted specifically for her interactions on Twitter, for her pronouns on Twitter, for who she maybe interacted with on Twitter, like some of the people you're looking at right here. And it ended up with her getting fired from Lucasfilm for inherently political purposes. And now it looks like there's a potential that Elon Musk could get involved.
This is huge. Obviously there's more to this story we're going to get into in terms of the people that Elon's interacting with. Did he respond to Gina?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't found that. I know one person, the only person I know he responded to was our friend Carolyn.
Yeah.
This is the only person that I know for sure they responded to it. It's probably because Libs of TikTok is the one that posted it. At Kara Creates was fired for following Libs of TikTok. We talked about this when Carolyn was fired from Limited Run Games. I don't know when this happened, like a year ago or something. And all for who she was following and some of her opinions on a Harry Potter game, right? The most ridiculous shit you could imagine. Limited Run Games fired her. They got blown up. They got ratio time after time. And Carol landed on her feet. Eric July gave her the first interview after all that happened, ended up hiring her, and she's doing awesome things with Rippaverse, which is also doing awesome things. But it still doesn't make it right what happened. And Elon replies, Kara, is that accurate? Holy shit. Imagine getting a reply like this from Elon after all the shit you've been through.
I know.
And Kara does reply, yes, it was led by someone who dug through my tweets, found a single one from 2016 regarding hesitation of people taking advantage of the bathroom discussion, started a witch hunt, and I was fired the same day. Happy to chat more about it if you're interested. Great. Let's have at it.
That's
holy
wild.
Shit. That is wild.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Carolyn, Rippaverse, Libs of TikTok, everybody involved. That is super cool. And yeah, I mean, this is a big discussion. Gina seems to be the most prominent name that I can think of in this situation. Maybe there's more prominent names, but maybe I'm not thinking of any right now. Obviously, some of her stuff took place on Instagram. The original post, I believe, was an Instagram story, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that correct, Ryan? The original post that caused a lot of the issue in terms of that discussion, but her pronouns and the bio stuff and all of that obviously took place on Twitter.
Bro, there were screenshots of her liking my tweet that was one of the first big things, because I made a video about kind of the woke mob coming after her over pronoun shit, and I put out a tweet about it because then I got attacked for it, and she liked that tweet. That is one of the things that sent these people into a fucking frenzy. And even like to this day, there's these Insider magazine hit pieces. It's like one of the controversial things she did was wish this toxic YouTuber happy birthday. It's me. It's wild, but this is legitimately some of the things that took place. And Data Racer had a great post where he said, "Pay for Gina Carano to sue Disney for being fired because of her tweets." And there is no doubt that what happened on Twitter was a massive part, if not the singular reason why Gina ended up getting fired, because a bunch of the fucking woke nut job freaks, these degenerates that work at Lucasfilm, all tried to get her together for a struggle session, and they are the ones that got her fired, undoubtedly.
Yep. Yeah. So I love seeing this again. I've been very happy with the fact that Elon Musk has purchased Twitter. I feel like the game has changed in terms of his approach to it, him running it. You can still have criticisms of him, and those are totally fair. But at the end of the day, man, Elon, like, I just feel like we don't appreciate the great people that we have right now. Like, Elon Musk is one of, if not the most accomplished human beings on the planet. And all you hear is people just shitting all over him. It's like, you can disagree with the dude. The dude is a transcendent historical figure. He is. He just is. Do we need to wait for him to die so we can memorialize him and then pretend that he was great? Elon Musk is definitely one of the most important people on the planet, and he will go down as a historical figure. He just will. And we live in this time where everything is like, you can't just appreciate people for who they are in the moment. We have to wait for them to die and memorialize them, and then you have a fake version of what they were, thinking about what they were and all of that. I disagree massively with Elon on a lot of different issues. Some of the things he says terrifies me. But at the end of the day, I mean, this dude is a prominent figure that's going to be remembered for the rest of time. And he's doing great things. The Twitter situation, Jack Dorsey was a disaster. We remember the conversations that Tim Pool had with Jack Dorsey on the Joe Rogan podcast. Absolutely insane. I, as an American, will never forget the day that they banned the sitting president of the United States of America on Twitter, which was one of the darkest days you can ever remember for free speech. The sitting president of the United States of America, they banned him. And after that, they just spent time just lying about what he said because you couldn't actually access it. Sure, there were screenshots. Sure, there were people saying that this happened, but they deleted it. Now, with the account being restored, you can see exactly what was happening. But yeah, I mean, this is a wild scenario, man. And I hope that Kara gets to talk to Elon, and I hope he opens up some opportunities, and I hope that Gina is able to talk to Elon as well. This is huge.
Yeah. And obviously things are always going to be different. Some contracts, or maybe you could be in contract negotiations. Some contracts may just have it out for any reason whatsoever. Like those things do exist, right? So sometimes there's maybe nothing you could do. And in Kara's situation, I haven't spoken to her about it at all, but just from the outside looking in, as much as we might want to be like, yeah, fucking bankrupt all these cocksuckers over there at limited run games. The truth is she might have a lot of people that she's really good friends with that work there. And it might have been just the actions of a couple individuals within the ladder that results in what happened to her. So she might not want to fucking bankrupt this company, and have these people that she knows and cares about out of jobs. I don't know. That's just me literally spitballing about some of the things that could go on. But from the outside perspective, I know a lot of us would want to see what we see as justice for these people who've been treated like shit.
Hell yeah. So we'll see what happens, but I'm excited. Again, seems like the tide is turning slowly but surely. You see a lot of nonsense still. You see people like Neo just scared to death to have his opinion and apologizing the next day. We're going to continue to see that here and there. But ultimately, I think the tide is turning for sure. And we're continuing to see it across the board. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the next steps are.
Japanese Demon Lord Abir Lucifer for 10. I should probably have said American entertainment. There's still good stuff coming out of Europe. Sisu was awesome. It's just stuff like that is rare. Maverick also was great. Again, rare. I love Mission Impossible 7. It sucks. That's my most disappointing flop of the year. 100%. I fucking hate flopping.
It's a massive flop. It really is.
And it sucks. I'm looking forward to 8, but I hate that it failed. Taker for $5. South Park's Death Camp of Tolerance episode is the world we live in now. They don't need education. They need re-education at the point of a gun. Taker for $2. Female director makes $1 billion for male studio head. Hey, David Zaslav's a Ken. Maggie Chan for $5. I find it odd. 2 days before investors meeting, I suddenly have to re-sign in to get into my Hulu account. Can't wait to hear this call. I don't find that odd, but maybe.
What is it again?
He said, I find it odd 2 days before investors meeting. So I think the next quarterly investor call for Disney's coming up in a couple days here. So I find it odd 2 days before my investors meeting, I suddenly have to re-sign in to get into my Hulu account. Can't wait to hear this call.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't have Hulu, so I can't speak to it. I mean, I
know randomly when I haven't signed into something for a while or every couple months, it makes me re-sign into Netflix, HBO Max or whatever. So
yeah,
I mean, coincidences are actually a thing.
Yes.
Right? Despite some people thinking contrary, sometimes things just happen. For instance, there was a lot of problems with Oppenheimer showings across the country. It maybe didn't go as viral as some of the Sound of Freedom stuff did, but there was a lot of problems. People had issues with sound. People had issues with the film being out of focus. People had issues where the AC went out in Oppenheimer showings. They got canceled. Wild. I know.
Well, there was a lot of Japanese that did that. There was a lot of problems with Tenet with the sound, and then they just found out Christopher Nolan keeps fucking it up.
Exactly. Japanese Demon Lord of Beer Lucifer for 5. Epic Elon. Chad Wright for 2. Does Ryan have a ponytail? No. Fuck.
Do you have
Maybe
a
my
ponytail?
hair looked like I did for a second or something.
I wanted to see the Meg 2, but I heard it's terrible. Which so the first one was terrible but enjoyable. It was a dumb, fun, bad movie. This, from what I hear, this one's not. It's not the same.
I don't think the first one was meant to be a kind of Sharknado-esque movie. Like, it was meant to be a little bit dumb, but not necessarily full retard, right? But the way Meg 2 has been advertised is full retard movie.
Yeah.
Now, my understanding is that's not exactly what the movie is, but I haven't seen it. I have no interest in seeing it. It did okay here. It did, like a $30 million opening, which is a little bit more than it was projected to get. Globally, it's doing well, specifically in China. Unfortunately, they don't get a ton of that box office, back from China. Only 25% of the box office total in China actually gets back to the studio. But we'll see. I don't know what the budget was on it.
Ryan, can you answer a question?
Yeah.
Did you intentionally wear your Megan Rapinoe hairdo today to celebrate what happened?
Hey, listen, Megan Rapinoe, once she saw that the way I did my hair was about the most manly you could get, she decided that she needed to replicate that. So that's on her. She copied me because she wanted to look like a dude. What can I say?
Oh, man. God, seeing that bitch get owned yesterday was absolutely amazing. I love it.
Good for sports for us. So
yeah, sure was. I saw that. So I was really happy to see that.
Do you see that fight, that baseball fight?
Yes.
Sure. I've never seen it. Wasn't even a great punch. It just hit the right way. I've never seen a ball player go down like Tim Anderson did.
There's some good stuff for Sports Wars lately, but football season's coming back. I'm going to be making appearances on Sports Wars again. I'm ready for some football season.
We haven't talked about that, so I'll have to get it cleared through the appropriate channels.
I can't wait. I'm ready for football season, man. I'm ready.
Lord Baratheon for 5. I saw someone point out that the ghost ship from Ahsoka series has been funded in HasLab while Reva's darksaber or lightsaber didn't. Well, Ahsoka has an actual fan base.
Yes.
Like, the character has a fan base. Reva does not.
No.
Reva was like a brand new character.
Mm-hmm.
And the ghost obviously has been around for a long time. There are people that are familiar with that too. So
yeah. So I mean, yeah, you can just because you don't like something doesn't mean that you have to discredit their popularity or their impact or whatever. Ahsoka has a fan base. Reva has no fan base. Reva never had a fan base. Never gonna have a fan base because it's not a good character. And just because Reva was a diverse woman put in a pre-existing story that she had no business being in doesn't translate to her being popular. No, you actually have to be a good character with good writing and a good story. And that clearly is not Reva in any way, shape, or form.
Carlos Estrada for 2. I need more memes from Japan about U.S. tragedies. Heaven forbid a NASCAR driver like one. Oh, it would be the end of the world.
Oh, I know. That'd be terrible, wouldn't it?
Darius White for 2. Ryan, dude, when you're bringing back the headdress? I don't know. We'll see. Some point, I bring back the Pharaoh.
Bro, Neo is getting crushed, and I am so happy that he's getting crushed. There's 1,700 quote tweets and only 1,200 likes on that tweet. Love it.
And we're all caught up.
All right. So, that's going to be the end of Geeks and Gamers Daily. We appreciate you guys. We got Mario Kart tonight here on the main channel. And then, of course, Cobra Cast after that over on my D-Day Cobra channel. So I hope you guys will tune in for both of those. Other than that, Ryan, what you got going on?
Just videos. That's it. That's all I ever do.
And if you have not subscribe to Geeks and Gamers Clips, that is formerly Geeks and Gamers Daily, formerly Geeks and Gamers Live. But that is where Steph edits together all of these topics and uploads individual videos over there. So make sure you go subscribe to that channel. And we'll see you tonight for Mario Kart. Hope you guys have a great day. Shout out to the 199, and we will talk to you later. Bye, everyone.